half in the bag. Get out of my car and into my dreams. God, this job is so boring. It's putting me to sleep faster than Bill Cosby.
Hey, did you hear Bill Cosby was recently spotted at an AA meeting?
Really? I didn't know Bill Cosby was an alcoholic.
Oh no, it was a meeting for amateur anesthesiologists.
Hey, did you know Bill Cosby used to do ads for Puddin' Pops? Well, now Pops is putting it in them.
Hey, did you know Bill Cosby kept all of his sweaters from The Cosby Show?
Really? Those sweaters always seem so hot and stuffy to me.
Yeah, he'd let the ladies wear them, hoping they'd pass out.
Hey, Jay, how do Bill Cosby's dates spell Jell-O?
How?
J-E-L.
Hey, do you know what Bill Cosby's wife's nickname for him is?
What's that?
Serial rapist.
Hey, speaking of falling asleep and getting raped, have you seen Ant-Man?
Yep.
Well, I believe now we should talk about Ant-Man.
Ant-Man is the latest Marvel movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from Marvel Films. It stars Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, a Marvel superhero ripped right from the pages of a Marvel comic book. In the Marvel film, Ant-Man is hired by a former Ant-Man to break into a building to steal a bad Ant-Man suit, which will most definitely not eventually be worn by an evil businessman. Original director Edgar Wright left the project when Marvel wanted to stifle his creativity and create connections within the film to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was replaced by Peyton Reed, who ironically directed a film called Yes Man. Mike, what did you think of Marvel's Ant-Man?
Ant-Man was very, very good.
Yes.
That's my only description of this.
I would call
very
it
good.
manufactured fun. Does that seem appropriate?
Yeah. Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd. He's not full on Paul Rudd.
No.
Surprisingly, a lot of the Paul Rudd like quips and witty remarks kind of fell flat. The actual fun part of the movie was the visual effects and the little miniature, him running around like a little tiny man, and the little fight on the train set toys and all that. There was lots of inventiveness, ingenuity, cleverness. It felt like kind of like a Pixar-y movie. And then the plot was pretty standard fare.
I see the plot is one of the things I liked the most about it, which I went into this movie not giving a shit about Ant-Man, not excited about Ant-Man. The only interest I had was the Edgar Wright connection. I was like, oh, I'm curious what, I have a feeling that most of what's left of the plot was his idea, because it's a little more clever than a typical like Marvel yes man writer.
So it's unfortunate Marvel told Edgar Wright he was Edgar wrong.
But yeah, I saw the trailer, and in the trailer you see evil Ant-Man suit. And so I was thinking, especially during the first part of the movie, is like, well, first of all, the villain is the most ham-fisted and boring villain ever. But I saw that trailer, and it's like, okay, it's going to be like the Iron Man thing again, where it's at the end he has to fight evil Ant-Man. But the movie isn't, that's a part of the movie, but it's not really about that. It's more of a heist movie. It subverts the typical, we have to save the city or we have to save the world. Like, there's an element of that, but it's not about the big battle at the end. That's just a portion of the movie, and thankfully that end battle at the end is actually really creative and fun. It's usually the worst part of these movies, but I really enjoyed that because they treated it with a lot of levity, which you should do with a movie about a man that shrinks and controls ants.
Yes, the heist stuff was fun. The little plot with the father-daughter relationship paralleling with Michael I want to say Michael Keaton. What's his name?
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas and his daughter, and it's a little ham-fisted, a little plotty, a little movie, but that's what it is. It's a movie. And the bad guy, they didn't take it too seriously, and then they addressed why don't you just get the fucking Avengers just to smash this building into a million pieces? But
that's what they bring that up, or people always bring that up with every solo movie now, where it's like, why don't they bring the Avengers in? Because if they did, then there wouldn't be a movie.
Right.
You just kind of have to accept that.
You have to accept that. And they had a logical reason why they shouldn't. Made sense. And then the fun little cameo from Captain America's best friend.
The Falcon.
The Falcon. I don't forget his name. Is that the stuff Edgar Wright didn't want in the movie?
I'm assuming that the more connection, he had kind of his idea of what the movie should be, and
that shit ain't not gonna happen.
No.
Now, the suit has power. You have to learn how to control it.
That's our motivation, Paul Rudd, and they want to stop crazy businessmen from selling a bunch of yellow jacket suits to Hydra, and then they'll use them to take over the world.
Yeah, not just stop him, but they want to sneak into the facility and steal it because he, in the past, is a very competent thief.
Yeah, I'm speaking on a bigger term.
Sure, but what I liked about this is the details of it. It's not just, we need to break in and stop him. It's like they actually have a plan, and it's a little more clever.
It reminded me a lot of The Rocketeer, Timothy Dalton's movie star character who was a secret Nazi, and then they had the Nazi film reels of all the Rocketeers taking over the world with their rocket.
Yeah, it had a bit of an 80s feel to it, where it wasn't taking itself too seriously. It was embracing the fantastical elements, which a lot of the modern Marvel movies are more trying to keep them grounded but still have fun with it. This one didn't seem to care about being realistic at all, which I appreciated. And you had mentioned some of the relationship stuff feeling a little forced. I agree, and especially right in the middle of the movie, they're like, let's get all of our character arcs out of the way in these 3 scenes, one after the other. And it's like, why haven't you ever told me why Mom died? And then so Michael Douglas just says, here's why your mom died. And she says, why didn't you tell me that? And I was thinking the same thing. Why didn't he never tell her before? Because it creates a dramatic scene in the movie, I guess.
Well, it's I don't know. It's like baking a cake. The movie's a cake. You have to have the flour and the salt and the sugar and...
Sure, but I wish it all felt a little more organic and not just, we got to put this scene in here now, I guess.
That's what it was. It was a cake that you eat. And it needed all the ingredients of a cake.
But there's different levels of tastiness of cakes.
That's true. That's true.
This is like a slightly above mid-tier cake.
I don't know. Did they ever explain why he wore a helmet? There's something about you keep you from going crazy.
To keep your molecules in place so you don't turn into a crazy man like the bad guy, who is a crazy man before he wears the suit. So that doesn't really make much sense.
See, when I saw the helmet and Paul Rudd has to go to open it up, I thought, and I gave the movie too much credit, I thought he needed to use it to breathe. Because there's an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine where they discover a anomaly in space that will, if you pass through it, it will shrink down your molecules. And Chief O'Brien, Lieutenant Jadzia Dax, and Dr. Julian Bashir get into a little tiny shuttlecraft. Well, it's not tiny then, it's a regular sized, it's a runabout. And they pass through the thing and they shrink. And they shrink to about this big. And they fly around inside the Defiant. It's a really great episode. It's pointless, but they're like, we got to go get out of the ship and fix something. And then the doctor's like, no, you can't, because when you breathe outside of the ship, the oxygen molecules are too large for your blood to assimilate them, so you'll suffocate to death. So I thought.
And you wanted that kind of science in Ant-Man? Hey, did you know Mommy Can I Keep Her is directed by Fred Olen Ray, who did Alienator? There's a scene, it's actually done twice in the movie, where there's a little montage of Michael Pena explaining the backstory of this heist that he's leading up to, and it's like he's explaining it, but we're seeing flashbacks where the characters are talking, but it's his voice coming out of him, and it's like whoosh, whoosh.
Character. Moments. The rest of the movie was shot
like one of those cheapo romantic comedies that they dump into theaters every February. And it's a little unfortunate, like the action scenes when they just turn all the footage over to the CGI artists and they make the camera whip around and they make it all fun, is a very sharp contrast from the look of the rest of the movie.
You tried to hide your suit from me. Now it's gonna blow up in your face and destroy everyone you care about.
I like the Ant-Man costume.
Oh, sure.
Michael Douglas was a little blah in it.
Yes, I'd like to see Michael Douglas again. I can't remember the last time I saw him in something.
And the production design, the laboratory stuff was cool, but I didn't like Michael Douglas's house.
Oh, yeah, it looked like the Brumder Mansion.
Yeah.
Like they just went into the Brumder Mansion and filmed.
Like they went into like a grandma's house.
Yeah.
And it was so small, and I thought he should have had a more vast estate. Like
Sure.
it seemed like he should have been more wealthy and have a bigger house and a much more cool looking secret lair laboratory type thing. But I think that kind of played into the. Then the one thing I did like about the movie was the underdog kind of element. Like,
Oh, sure.
Paul Rudd's the underdog. His life keeps shitting on him, and he nobody likes him. And
I think that's why it reminded me a bit of an 80s movie too, is like those classic tropes of the
Right.
down on his luck guy.
right, at one point he has a job at Baskin Robbins that he gets fired from,
And his boss is Neil Hamburger.
Neil Hamburger. And ironically, the kid wants to order a hamburger at the ice cream place. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was great. Neil Hamburger is great.
Yeah, it was only one little scene. He was great at it.
Yeah, and the underdog element. And then I guess Michael Douglas is kind of the underdog of his realm.
Well, I like that the movie was just as much about the Michael Douglas character as it was Paul Rudd's.
Scott, get out of there!
Did you think you could stop the future? You're just a thief!
No.
I'm Ant-Man. I know. Wasn't my idea.
So apparently this movie, Ant-Man, was the lowest box office opening for a Marvel movie since The Hulk, which I assume was the last Hulk.
The Edward Norton Hulk?
The second Hulk? I don't know. But yeah, which isn't shocking to me. I don't think it's like, I'm anxiously awaiting that first crack in the armor, that first sign that this I don't know why I wait for this, but this whole cinematic universe empire will just collapse in under its own weight.
It certainly, monetarily, it wasn't Avengers 2, but for me, creatively, it was Avengers 2, where it's like, I can see what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, like going into the theater, I didn't really want to see this movie. If we didn't do a internet movie review show,
We do what?
if we weren't VCR repairmen posing as video game repairmen, I wouldn't have probably even wanted to see this. But after I saw it, I enjoyed it well enough. And it wasn't like you said, overly obnoxious with like the bad guy and all this stuff. It was clever and fun, and it was a good movie. But I can see how this stuff's going to start to wear on people. Maybe, I don't know.
See, yeah,
I think I'm overestimating people. I think
for me, this
Marvel-
one did enough different where it kept it feeling more fresh than
Yeah.
if this was a Thor 3 or something like that. Like, I liked the Ant-Man character, both Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas. I liked the heist elements that brought a different angle to it. So it did enough. Like, maybe it's on life support, these Marvel movies, as far as creativity goes.
I wouldn't say life support.
But, well, not yet, but this feels like, all right, we're going to try something different. And, as long as they keep sprinkling like a Guardians of the Galaxy or a movie like this in, like, I think they're gonna last quite a bit longer.
They have to keep almost reinventing themselves, and that's a risky thing to do when the formula works so well. They'll have to take a real big hit in order to kind of go, okay, we got to re-strategize this. But the thing that's annoying to me slightly is the kind of the arrogance in, well, here we're making, this movie and 4 sequels are planned. And it's like, I know they got to plan all this shit out. They got to get all these actors in line. They got to get all their schedules. They got to get all this stuff. But to say like Ant-Man 2 and 3 are already in production. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are already in. It's like,
When I first heard about, like, shortly after Iron Man, because that's the movie that kind of kicked this all off, when they were first starting to talk about, having this cinematic universe and connecting all these movies, I was like, that's ambitious and creative and kind of interesting. but now it feels like overkill, or like they're overstretching, or it's more like it feels more corporate-y, like less like where it's not really about making creative fun movies so much as is like sustaining a brand.
But it is also about making creative, fun movies, because that's a branch of their strategy. It's like they're hiring the most creative, smart, talented people in the business to make creative, smart movies.
Yeah, but then you look at like an Edgar Wright, where it's like you're being too creative and you won't follow these specific guidelines, so you got to go.
They have their plan.
Yeah.
And it could blow up in their face, or it could just be super successful. Like Star Wars, obviously, they're planning the next two, and then a bunch of spin-offs.
Yeah.
And it's almost like movies like this with these recognizable brands and these cinematic universes are almost guaranteed to make their money. So I think at this point, plus like you have to take into account the worldwide box office now too.
Well, that's more important than the US box office.
Exactly. So it's like that in the past, 20, 30 years ago wasn't a big thing, but now it is. Now everyone's connected, there's digital copies of movies, you don't have to send prints around. Movies could be everywhere, all over the world at once, and you could just make a shit ton of money. And I think they go, well, this is gonna cost what, $200 million to make? They just laugh. They crap in their pants while they laugh, because they know they're gonna make that in a week. Something's gotta give.
As long as they're fun, it's tolerable. But then you have something like the Terminator Genesis, which was just a giant piece of shit. Wow. And it bombed in the US, but worldwide it made money, and I think they're actually going forward with the sequel to it. And it's horrible.
There are 2 sequels planned.
Oh my god.
There's a second and a third.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like a movie like that was not well received. I don't know how much money it made, but put it over in China and Europe, and boom, it costs a penny to make, it makes $1, relatively speaking.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting time that we're in with movies. Things have definitely changed.
Yes.
And a little movie like Ant-Man, I'm glad. It's nice that Marvel is trying. They seem to have a good business model with producing these movies.
Yeah. It's weird though to talk about movies and like going to see a movie for fun, and then having to talk about the business model of the whole thing, as opposed to just watching an entertaining movie.
It's a different thing than movies are an art form, but it's a little different than like a musician or a writer or something like that. It is a big collection of talented people making something. Whether it's on the business, financial end, whether it's the computer animators, the actors, director, writers, creative people, it's a big group. And the era of the singular vision director, I think, is done.
As far as big movies go,
it's in the grave, Jay. Definitely as far as Marvel movies. You bring in someone like Edgar Wright who has a vision, and then they say nope.
Yeah.
You have to bring in someone that will do what you say.
I do think this is the best possible movie. Ant-Man is the best possible movie they could have followed up Avengers 2 with, because it's relatively short, it's lean, it moves fast, it has a very simple story, and it's almost like back to basics after all the shit that was in Avengers 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, that's kind of why I was not wanting to watch this. I was a little fatigued. Even Iron Man 3, which was a good movie, was a little too effects heavy in the end. A little like all this Iron Man's flying over.
Sure,
and I didn't know it was happening anymore. And I didn't want to see a movie like that.
Yeah.
That's why Ant-Man was funner, because it was a little scaled back. No pun intended. So Jay, would you recommend Ant-Man?
I would. I wasn't too excited about the movie, but I found it entertaining for what it was.
I think I would also recommend it. I, like you, was not very interested in Ant-Man, but it was fun. Paul Rudd wasn't as witty, and it wasn't as funny as I was hoping, but it still had humor and a lot of cool miniature action. Also, one quick thing. While I was watching it, I thought about the fact that we were not watching it in 3D, and this was a movie I thought might be fun in 3D. Because he's in the bathtub and he's tiny and there's water coming
sure,
and he's
yeah.
going through the tubes and I was like, this would be a good movie to see in 3D. So I normally would never ever say that, but because it was almost like all these like miniature toys from like.
Yeah, the perspectives, the angles they used for when he was small were good.
Yeah, there's a part where he runs through a party and people are dancing and there's like shoes stepping around him and stuff. And I was like, this would be neat to see in 3D. So check it out. Well, it's 9 o'clock. It's time to close up shop.
Yep, another day wasted, another dollar earned.
Hey, wait a minute. We've been watching this video game repair shop for months now. We haven't gotten paid.
Yeah, those fuckers are taking advantage of us. I hope they fucking die.
Well, that's a little harsh. Be careful what you wish for, Jay.
Wish for what?
That you fucking die!
He means diet. We hope that you diet.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Jack, you fat motherfucker. I hope you die it.
Well, we're back from our game convention.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Pixels. I guess you guys could come with if you wanted.
Fuck no.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, I got this.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go see Pixels with you guys. I love Adam Sandler films, but on the way there, can we stop by the bank? You know, so you guys could pay us for all the shifts that we've worked for you?
Let's go see Pixels.
We would love to pay you.
Why did he say that like a question?
I don't know, it was very suspicious. I don't think they have any intention to pay us, but let's go watch Pixels starring Adam Sandler and friends.
There's nothing I can think of that I would love to do less.